Tonight, a conversation with author and intellectual Dr. Robert Dickson Crane. Dr. Crane is presently Director for Global Strategy at Abraham Federation, a global center for peace through compassionate justice. At Focus is one of Dr. Crane's controversial articles, Religious Tribalism, a Major Obstacle to Peace Through Justice. Dr. Crane will defend his views right here on the Scholar's Chair. Welcome to the Scholar's Chair, Dr. Crane. Dr. Crane, I must ask you, this particular article has caused a lot of controversy. I have a lot of email. It has to do with religion and the state order. Tell me, what is this concept that you're putting forward? What is religious tribalism?
Well, both words are controversial. I mean, religion can have many different meanings. It can mean that you're very narrow-minded and you don't recognize the validity of anybody else. Tribalism can mean exactly the same thing. When you have both of them together, you have something that's a real problem.
Yes.
Now, there are three levels of religious tribalism. Mm-hmm. One I call tolerance. Tolerance means I won't kill you yet.
Yes.
Then the next level is diversity. Diversity means I can't stand you, but you're here, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
And then there's pluralism, which means we welcome you because we each have so much to offer each other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In America, we claim that we are at the level of pluralism, but there have been books written on this subject indicating that we are always at least one stage ahead. We think we're one stage ahead of where we are.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now, tribalism has two meanings in Islamic thought, particularly as developed by Ibn Khaldun, who was one of the greatest Islamic scholars, lived at the time of the Mongol invasion.
Yes, my favorite scholar. Yeah.
And he was the first to study civilizations, mm-hmm. Conflict of civilizations, growth of civilizations. Mm-hmm. And he said that we have to beware of asabiya in the sense of a negative approach to the world.
Asabiya, what does it mean?
It means community spirit. Mm-hmm. But community spirit, if it's directed against something, mm-hmm. can cause problems.
Yes.
Community spirit directed towards recognizing your own value, mm-hmm. And what you can offer others and what they can offer you, mm-hmm. is good. Mm-hmm. So there are two concepts of asabiya. It can be either good or bad.
Either or.
Yeah.
Let me ask the question, because I have to really put this sentence in front of you and my audience so I can stop getting email. So I have to offer it to you. You write in the article, the best strategy for Muslims in America and in the world is to do exact opposite of the Jews who want a Jewish state and those Muslims who want a so-called Islamic state. And you go on to talk about that this tribalistic strategy eliminates every civilization, has eliminated every civilization since the beginning of time. And you talk about this focus that is the tribalistic focus tends to constitute a polytheism. And you say that this is beyond the belief in the oneness of God. And not so much the belief in a state. So you're saying that Islamic state or Christian state or Jewish state or Hindu state, all of them are incorrect in the views of the revealed religions, the world religions as we understand them, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. This idea of an organized state is against the religion itself. Would you explain this idea?
Again, we get down to definitions.
Yes.
And I talk not about Jews generically, but extremist Jews, who are just like extremist Christians and extremist Muslims, who elevate themselves to the ultimate in reality.
Okay.
to the point that they may even worship themselves as the highest purpose in existence. Now, the problem with a state, Muslims particularly, many Muslims, like to talk about an Islamic state.
Yes.
What they mean is an Islamic polity or an Islamic society, an Islamic community, which is united in worship of God and in translating the scriptures and natural law and human reason into principles of justice and the practice of justice. The concept of state, however, in Western thought, political thought, is quite different. It didn't exist anywhere in the world until basically 400 years ago. In 1638, the Lutherans and the Catholics finally ended their 30 years war in Europe, all over Europe, by deciding that there is no higher authority. Each claimed they were representing Christianity, and there is no higher authority at the transcendent level beyond human will.
Yes.
And therefore, they said, we are now states, and a state by definition is the ultimate source of truth, the ultimate authority. It is also by definition the source, the only source of legitimate coercion.
And that would certainly be in contradiction to the Islamic idea that there be no compulsion, no compulsion in religion. So
yes, well, that's why an Islamic state, using the Western definition of state, is an oxymoron.
Gotcha.
And the problem is understanding the different uses of these terms. People argue past each other.
Yes, 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 I quite agree. Now, you also talk about the misinterpretation of Scripture in your article, and you talk about it at quite some length, that it does miss out on the higher purpose of theology. Can you expand that idea?
Yes, in all religions, but particularly in Islam, there's a tension between those who approach justice from the top down in terms of higher principles, and those who just read the text and say, you know, this says this, therefore this is correct, this is true, regardless of whether the particular text is addressing a higher purpose. Now, of course, the whole concept of higher purpose in Islam has been dead for almost 600 years, but during the classical period, and now again being revived, is what they call the maqasid al-sharia, which are the purposes of the sharia. This is quite different from the ahkam, the regulations, the hudud, the punishments, and so forth, which should be applied only in terms of their higher purpose. For example, I could give you several examples, but one is the Daraba verse in the Quran, Surah Nisa, I think 34, where it says if your wife gets uppity, in effect, although some people say she has to commit adultery, you should reprimand her. And if that doesn't work, then you sleep in a separate room. If that doesn't work, you should daraba her. You should beat her. Well, there are 13 different uses of the term daraba in the Quran.
That's right, yes.
And most of them have to do with separation, which means instead of beating her, you should separate, not divorce, because the Prophet Muhammad said that divorce is the worst of all permitted things. But you're permitted to separate, and then you give time for the families and the two parties to reconcile. So but if you interpret it without the higher purpose of the sacredness of the family, and the fact that the Prophet ﷺ never beat any woman in his life, and it obviously contradicts haq al-karama, which is one of the let's say 8 maqasid purposes, human dignity. It's against human dignity. Therefore, it cannot possibly mean beat her.
I think that's the best explanation I've heard, and that is a continuous discussion about this particular verse. I'm going to move.